Sturdy. When and where were you born?
I was born, and I was born March the 12th, 1945, in Toronto at St. Michael's Hospital.
Okay. What do you remember from your early childhood?
What do I remember? I remember a lot of good things. I remember, let me see now, there's so many things that I could say. I remember having a nice dog named Fluffy, and I remember having lots of friends in school, in public school. I remember having, I used to have a bicycle with a Davy Crockett hat, a Davy Crockett bicycle seat. You know what Davy Crockett's hat looks like? It's a coonskin hat with a long tail on the end of with rings around it like a raccoon. And I remember playing in the sandbox with my trucks. Used to love playing with trucks. Yeah. Anything else?
That's enough. What was your occupation of your mother and father?
My mother was my foster mother. I was a foster child, okay, for 17 years. And my foster mother was a housekeeper, okay. And my foster father, during the war, worked in a munition plant where they made shells.
Yeah.
And he also worked at what they call Fruhoff trailers, and where he worked putting what they called stake and rack trailers, 18-wheelers, made for cattle, and he would build those. He would build those for Fruhoff trailers. And that was in Toronto, Weston actually. Yeah.
Describe your house that you grew up in.
Our house wasn't a very big house, but it was a nice, comfortable house. We had a porch that was the length of the house with screens on the side so you could look out. It was 1, 2, 3 bedrooms upstairs, a living room downstairs, and what we called the good room. Nobody was allowed in there unless there was something special going on. We called it the good room. And then, of course, there was the kitchen and dining room.
What was it like during the holidays?
During the holidays, lots of people. We used to have lots of people come to visit. My foster brothers, okay, and their families would come and visit, okay. And we had Christmas dinner, like, you know, Christmas dinner and all kinds of good things happening.
What were your usual meals?
Usual meals. Well, you know what? We weren't a rich family. We weren't a poor family. But we used to eat a lot of, they call potato soup. Have you ever had potato soup, you guys? We had a lot of potato soup. We had salmon. Not a casserole. Well, I guess it would be a casserole. A salmon casserole. We ate a lot of that. Other than salmon, we didn't eat a whole lot of fish. And we ate meat. We weren't vegetarians, let's put it that way. You know what I mean? We had good meals. And my foster mother made the best date squares you could ever have. They were very good. And applesauce. She made applesauce, and she would cook the apples, put them in a thing that looked like that, and she'd put them in there, and you'd roll sort of like a rolling pin and squeeze the sauce out of the sides of it, like a colander type thing. Yeah.
What were your jobs around the house?
My jobs?
Chores?
Cut the grass. I very seldom made my bed. But my job was to cut the grass. My job was to go and get water because we didn't have running water. Okay, we lived in a small village that everybody had their own wells. We didn't have a well, so I used to go to Mrs. Robinson, was the name of that lady, and we would go to her well, and I would go with buckets of water and fill them up and bring them back home. And she was a very, very wonderful lady, Mrs. Robinson. She's big. She was over 6 feet, about 6'4". She was a big lady, tall. And she used, when the train come in, we had railroad tracks on the about the center of the little village, and there would be hobos come to on the trains, and they would go to Mrs. Robinson's place because she would have food for them. She would give them food. You know what hobos are, right? Yeah. So. And what other chores did I have? I had to cut the grass. I can't remember my. Let me see now. We didn't have chickens, but my foster brother, when he got older, had chickens in a chicken coop, and my job was to go and feed them. When I was, I would say 12, 13 years old, I used to go to my other foster brother's place, was a farm, and my job was to feed the pigs, because they used to get all kinds of bread and stuff from the bakeries in big barrels full of bread and sweets and stuff that they couldn't use. We'd feed those to pigs, okay? And of course, as I got older, I drove the tractor and plowed the fields and so on and so forth.
How did you spend your free time?
Riding a bicycle and swimming. We used to live, there used to be it's not there anymore, but there used to be a flour mill where they made flour, and there was a dam there that they used to use to run a water wheel. Okay, do you know what water wheel is? It's where the dam is there, and then there was a little canal, and then there was a chute that went down to the water wheel to force the wheel to turn, which turned the grinders to make to make the flour.
What was your school like?
Good. It was a small school. You probably wouldn't remember the school that we used to have down the road here. Do you remember?
I've heard people talk about it a lot.
I had a little small it used to be a one-room schoolhouse. Then they added on and made it a two-room schoolhouse. And the schoolhouse was right beside the ball field. We had a ball field similar to this. And at every recess, the first one to get to the plate got the bat. So we would run out of school at recess and run for the home plate. And if you got there first, you get the bat.
Did you ever get there first?
Yes. Yes, I used to get there first a lot of times. It was fun. We called it scrub. Yeah.
What was your first car that you remember liking?
What's that?
What was your first car that you remember liking?
Car?
Yeah.
The first car that I ever had was a 1971 Chevelle, and it was maroon and had leather seats, and it had 60 series tires on the back and 50 series on the front, and it was my favorite car. It was a great car, except it only wore it.
You know what happened to that car?
No, I don't. I don't remember. I don't remember what happened. We got another car because that was a fair weather car. Oh, sorry. Are we good? That was a car that if it was raining, it wouldn't start. So I didn't know anything about cars, and we didn't have enough money at the time to, we were married at the time, we didn't have enough money to go to a garage and pay to have it fixed. So I don't really remember. What happened to the Chevelle, Bon? What happened to the old Chevelle that I had? Remember the maroon Chevelle? Did I trade it in for the Toyota? I can't remember. I can't remember what happened to it. But it was a great car. It was a hot rod. It's a cool car.
Did you have a radio or television? What did you listen to or watch?
We had TV, and we used to watch. I used to watch the Cisco Kid. Gunsmoke was on at that time. Roy Rogers was on at that time. Didn't watch much sports on it because there wasn't too much. We only had 2 channels. And that's what I used to watch, westerns. Western, like the Cisco Kid, Roy Rogers. Let me think now. Roy Rogers. What was the other one that I was mentioning? Cisco Kid, Roy Rogers. Gunsmoke, watched that. Yeah, that's about it. There was others too, but I can't remember them.
What is your favorite kind of music?
My favorite kind of music is blues. I really like blues music. I like all music, but blues is my favorite because they got a good rhythm. Blues has got a good rhythm to it.
When did you get married and how old were you?
We got married in 1969, and I was, how old was I when we got married, Bon? Where's she? No. How old was I? 23. 23.
When did you start a family?
When did we start a family? In 1969 we started a family. It was our oldest son, Darren. Yep. Yep.
Did you play any sports when you were younger?
Yes, I did. Played pond hockey every weekend and most nights. Well, not nights, no. Well, we played every weekend. We would go down in the morning and play all day, play hockey on the pond. And when I come back, my feet were frozen, and my foster mother had to put my feet in cold water to thaw them out. Man, that was painful.
Was life easier or harder when you were younger?
Was it easier? It was easy. It was easy. Yeah.
Who were your heroes or role models?
Who are my heroes today? You mean today or then?
Any day.
Any day? Well, my hero is God and Christ. Okay? My role models, God and Christ. Okay? And, yeah. Yeah.
What was your favorite meal?
Salmon casserole. Salmon casserole was my favorite meal.
Do you still eat it today?
We eat salmon only differently. Smoked salmon we have. Planked salmon, yes, we eat salmon. Planked, but we don't have. We have had salmon casserole, but my favorite is planked salmon.
What were the big news? What was the big news stories that you remember?
Hurricane. What was the name of the hurricane? It was in the early 50s. I can't remember exactly what year. And what was the name of that hurricane? But it was a bad hurricane, and it was in our area of Ontario, near Toronto. And what was I can't remember the name of the hurricane, but I do remember that. I can't remember the name of the hurricane, but I do remember having a bad hurricane in the I don't know the exact year, but it was in the late 50s. Yeah.
Who was the first prime minister you remember?
The first prime minister I remember was probably let me think now. Let me think. I'm trying to think now. I would say Trudeau was the first one that I remember. I know there was ones before that, but I didn't pay too much attention to who was the prime minister or whatever. But I do remember Prime Minister Trudeau.
Do you have any friends that you've had since your childhood?
No, I don't. I have Facebook friends that are in Ontario, but none physical. Well, I shouldn't say not early childhood or high school. High school, I have there's friends in Ontario that I have, and we go up and visit on occasion in Toronto, and we've known each other since high school. Yeah.
What do you remember about your grandparents?
I don't know who my grandparents were.
What about your foster grandparents?
I don't know about their grandparents. I don't know. I don't know.
If you could change the world, one thing about the world, what would it be and why?
I would change the gap between the rich and the poor. I would try to close that gap because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and that's not right. So don't know how I would do it, but I would try to close that gap between the rich people and the poor people. We have a middle class now, but if we ever lose that middle class and we have just the rich and just the poor, we're in trouble. Right.
How has the world changed in your lifetime?
How has it changed? It's gotten faster for sure. It's gotten smaller because of social media. There's more violence. In my lifetime, there's been more violence. When I was young, a teenager or even early 20s, I was in the Navy at that time. When you had a beef with somebody, you went up and fisticuffs. fisticuffs. Now they use knives. You know what I mean? There's no
Are you talking about brass knuckles
no.
instead of knives?
No, they use knives. People don't physically. How can I put this? One time when you had a beef with a person, you took them outside. You took them outside and you fought. You fought, and the winner was the winner, and that was it. It was all over. But now you hear so much of people stabbing each other. You know what I mean? Even good friends stabbing each other when they've got a beef with them. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? But that's part. What was the question again?
How has the world changed
Yeah,
in your lifetime?
yeah. In my lifetime, well, like I say, it's gotten faster. People back then, back in my younger years, were pretty. They were friendlier. We helped each other out as much as we could. Family was very important. We spent a lot of time with family. Not that that's not important these days, but not as important. I don't think, because people are so busy doing things, just busy, and maybe too busy to take the time for their kids, because there's so much going on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you have any advice for young people today?
Yes, I do. In terms of when you get older when hold on to your dreams. Okay, take the world and if you got something that you really want to do, go for it. And be good to your neighbor. Be good to your friends. Be good to your friends. But hold on to your dreams. Hold on to your dreams. As a young person today, hold on. And education is very important. It's important to have good education. And not necessarily university, but university is good. But tradespeople, like I was in a trade. I was a lineman for 30 years. Still do line work on storm chasing. Hold on to your dreams. Yeah.
What was your favorite flavor of ice cream?
My favorite. 3 flavors. My father-in-law, and we did it at our place too. Wow. You know the bricks of ice cream, you get the 3 flavors in?
Yeah.
We used to get those on occasion. We cut them for a friend. That's my favorite. 3 flavors.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
Yes, we had a pet dog named Fluffy. Great dog. Great dog. It was a Pekingese dog. Long hair. And it was just a wonderful dog. Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Foster brothers, half brothers, foster brothers. I had 2 foster brothers, 1 foster sister that when I came to the foster family, I was 3 years old. And she was, I don't know exactly whether she died when she was 16. And her and I got along really well. And I really missed her when she passed on. And I didn't understand it at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her name was Betty. My foster brother, the older one was Donnie. He's the one that had the farm. And my other foster brother, his name's Jack. he was the one that he played hockey, and he got me into, he played hockey and used to take me with him to their hockey games. And I was the stick boy. I used to go on the bench and carry the sticks for them, which I thought was a big deal. And it was a big deal for me, you know. That's not the question you asked, but that's who my siblings were. Okay, I have siblings that I have two sisters. Okay, not foster sisters. Okay, one lives in Toronto, and one lives in BC. I have two brothers that I haven't found yet. There were my mother had 5 children that she, for whatever reason, she couldn't take care of us kids. Gave the kids up for adoption from the hospital. Okay, and so I found the 2 sisters, and I'm still looking for the 2 brothers. Yeah.
Did you ever travel when you were younger?
I was in the Navy, so I traveled a lot. I was all over. I was to South America. I was to England. I was to Portugal. I was to the United States, the eastern coast of the United States, France. Let me see now. Africa. Yeah. Traveled a lot when I was in the Navy. Yeah.
What was Father's Day like when you were little?
Don't remember a whole lot about that. I don't.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited Liam's moving back in. I told him this is his home, and you see the way the girls love
That's all. That's all.
That's it?
Yep.
Ooh, good. Good. You're a very good interviewer. Good for you. And you helped, didn't you? Eh? That deserves a donut, doesn't it?
Sure.
No, I'm good.
No, you're good? Good. So this is for?
This is for Greenfield Elementary School.
Good.
This is for the YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going on I'm pretty sure the Queens County radio
Oh,
station.
yes. Yes.
And there's another place where it's going on, I'm pretty sure on Facebook, the Greenfield Facebook page.
Yes? Oh, that's cool. That is very cool. So, yeah, everybody does interviews. Okay.
I'm doing mine tomorrow.
Are you? Who are you doing yours?
Do you know Shirley and Doug Adams?
I do.
I'm doing both of them tomorrow.
Good for you. Good for you.
Your time.
You're very welcome.